Good morning. I just somehow feel compelled to say, everyone move to the center. Can we do that? Can we kind of move toward the center? It looks like we're going to have just a wonderful, intimate family here today. Feel free to come farther forward or closer to the center as we find our center together this morning. Is that a nice segue? Good morning to all of those live streamers, our love streamers this morning. My name is Desiree Goyette, and I'm here today as a guest artist with my family. Ed Bogus on the piano, our daughter Lily Bogus, and Lily's twin brother Benjamin Bogus is out cleaning up Muir Beach today, which I think is a good activity for him to be doing today. So welcome to this beautiful service honoring our Indigenous people. Very honored to be here. Thank you, Medora, for having us here today. And you are in for a treat with her talk today. And in honor of those who stood on this ground before us today in this fancy building, long before this, I'd like us all to begin with a chant. And we have Kanak here to play us into it. It's a very simple chant. You'll see the words up on the screen. And we will replace some of the words as we go along, but the last phrase, Spirit am I, will remain consistent throughout. It's very simple. It goes, Spirit above me, Spirit below me, Spirit in front of me, Spirit behind, Spirit all around me, Spirit am I. So quite simple. Let's begin with drums. Spirit above me, Spirit below me, Spirit in front of me, Spirit behind, Spirit all around me, Spirit am I. Let's try the next one with love. Love is above me, love is below me, love is in front of me, love is behind, love is all around me, Spirit am I. What's another one? Shall we try joy? Let's do that. Joy is above me, joy is below me, joy is in front of me, joy is behind, joy is all around me, Spirit am I. Do we have another one you'd like to try? Faith? Peace, I love it. Peace is above me, peace is below me, peace is in front of me, peace is behind, peace is all around me, Spirit am I, Spirit am I, Spirit am I. Thank you.
Good morning, Unity in Marin. My name is Lisa Starbird, and I'm very grateful to be able to lead you through today's service and be here with you on this fall, wonderful, cold nights, warm days time of year that we have. Reverend Tim Lytle is our senior minister. He's with family this week, and we have Reverend Medora Gordon giving our wonderful talk today. It's I Can Hear You Dancing, and it's about unity in the Miwoks. I think you're going to really enjoy this talk today after what we went through in the first service. So at Unity in Marin, we consciously did come up with a mission statement, and I would like for you to say this with me. We are a spiritual community committed to authenticity and the expression of love and support for each other in living an awakened, enlightened life.
as we come together now, I want you to think that we are in fact a tribe. This is our gathering house. This is our roundhouse. This is the place where we come together. We come together to worship. We come together to pray. We come together as one in all things and in all ways. We are the people. And as the people, we believe that we are each born with our own song. So we come together now this morning, deep, deep into the heart of Miwok country, deep into that place where we know that our ancestors are here.
This is a story of the Miwoks, the repeopling of the world. Silver Fox is one of the culture heroes of the Miwok. The heroes create the world and teach the people how to live. Silver Fox is the more serious and wise of the heroes, and in Miwok mythology, Silver Fox is portrayed by a female. Chief Eagle said, "Where is Silver Fox? She must try to resurrect the people. What shall we do about our dead people? Who is going to help us? Tell Silver Fox to think. Tell Silver Fox to think intently. All human beings are dead." So said Eagle to Silver Fox. Silver Fox said, "I do not know how I shall bring them back to life." But she continued, "I will try to bring them back. I will try to bring them back." She went to the top of the rock and slept. She dreamed that she saw a skeleton. Then she went to the chief and told him that she had seen a skeleton in her dream. The chief sent her back saying, "That may help us. Go back and sleep again. If you dream again, do not arise. The skeleton may talk to you." Silver Fox said, "No one helps the chief. He feels lonely. He mourns each day for the dead Indians." Then Silver Fox dreamed of the skeleton again. The skeleton awakened her and told her to sing. The skeleton said, "If you sing, the people will return." Silver Fox sang, and in a great cave, Silver Fox sang, "Come back, all of you girls, come back, come back. Come back, all of you old people, come back, come back. Come back, all of you women, come back, come back. Come back, all of you men, come back." Thus sang Silver Fox when she called the people back after Eagle asked her to resurrect them. Prairie Falcon told Silver Fox to try harder to bring about the return of humankind. Silver Fox sang and cried for days and nights. Eagle cried. He said to Prairie Falcon, "I do not think Silver Fox will bring our people back." Silver Fox said, "The skeleton told me that if I sang loudly each morning, some of the people would return, but not all." Then Silver Fox went to the chief and said, "The skeleton told me that by singing loudly every morning, some of the people would return, but not all." The chief felt a little bit better after he heard this from Silver Fox. Silver Fox said, "I think that I shall bring my people back. I think that I shall." And she felt very happy when she said this to the chief. Then she continued, "I will go back to the cave and sing." And again, she sang. She sang in the morning. First, she brought one old man back to life. She tried to talk to the old man, but the latter would not answer him. answer her. The old man did not even shake his head. Silver Fox said, "I will try more singing." Silver Fox then visited the chief and told them, "I shall bring the people back, but they will not be the same people. They will be very nearly the same people, but they will be a little different." And the chief laughed. Then Silver Fox ran around the rock shouting. She felt glad that she had resurrected the people. She said, "Now there are many people. I brought them back. Now they are nearly the same as they were before." Then she climbed a hill. She ran around the hill singing. Chief Eagle said, "She has made the same people. Silver Fox has done well." And he was glad to see the people alive again. All of the people returned. The chief was glad to see his people. He said, "Silver Fox did it all." The chief told Prairie Falcon, Silver Fox secured the return of the people through the help of the skeleton. Then Silver Fox shouted because she was glad that she had brought back her people. Silver Fox said, "I do not know what happened to us. I do not know what it was that killed all of our old folks." But she was glad to see her people again. Then she stopped singing. She said, "It's all right. It's all right." But as she spoke, she began singing again. Then she became accustomed to singing, and she continues to do so to this day. And taking that story into the silence.
I often come to these services having just written the song, and I was going to joke that I wrote this one, but I really can't go through with that. So you can please sing along if you feel motivated. Imagine there's no heaven. It's easy if you try. No hell below us. Above us only sky. Imagine all the people living for today. Imagine there's no countries. It's not hard to do. Nothing nothing to kill or die for, and no religion to, oops. Imagine all the people living life in peace. Ooh, you may say that I'm a dreamer, but I'm not the only one. I hope one day you'll join us, and the world will live as one. Imagine no possessions. I wonder if you can. No need for greed or hunger. A brotherhood of man. Imagine all the people sharing all the world. Ooh, ooh, ooh. You may say that I'm a dreamer, but I'm not the only one. I hope one day you'll join us, and the world will live as one.
Aren't we wonderfully blessed? We have our very own John Lennon amongst us. As the prayer chaplain comes forward, I want us to know how very welcome we all are here in this place. All of you. Gloria brings the prayer box forward, knowing that all of your prayers are in it. And for those of you that are new amongst us, you will find a prayer box located right outside the back door, and you put prayers on a piece of paper. You put the paper in there. We have a silent prayer team here at Unity that gathers all those prayers each week and prays over them for 2 weeks and then sends them off, literally, physically, sends them off to Unity Village. And they are prayed over then for another 30 days by the Unity Village prayer people. So we take prayer very seriously here at Unity in Marin. Are there any new people? People who have never been here? People here for the first time? There is. I thought maybe I didn't know your name. The ushers will be giving you some information right here. Anybody else? This is so you'll know more about us and be aware that we are here for you, all of you. Welcome here. Welcome also to our live streamers. This is our virtual community that is growing, and so know that as you sit here each day, that there is another world. There's at least another one or two of you out there somewhere. There's Joseph Dean, and Joseph is in Thailand, and there are friends of ours in Norway, and there are friends of Tim's in Hawaii, and so we're growing. Our virtual community is growing. So in each of these seats where you don't see anybody, in fact, there is somebody already there. So welcome home. Welcome to Unity in Marin. Thank you.
Thank you, Reverend Medora. At Unity Marin, we have so many opportunities to connect and to be be part of this wonderful community. I'm going to briefly highlight some of the things that are coming up this week. We have so many things going on. You'll want to check out our website or check out our Facebook page or do it the old-fashioned way and go out to the courtyard and talk to somebody. We have plenty of volunteers. We have people who would love to tell you what they're doing and what's going on. And but in the meantime, I'm going to just touch on a few of them. So tomorrow is Fall Cleanup Day, and it's from 10 to 3, and we definitely need some volunteers. So if you're available and able to help us out, please sign up at the hub. That's the main place where you can get a lot of your information and sign up for any of our classes. And that's Maddie is always anchoring that. Maddie, I just want to say thank you so much for doing that for us for so long. And just so you know, Unity in Marin is a scent-free zone. There are many people who are sensitive to smells, so please be considerate of others. Next up, Wednesday nights. As most of you know, that's where my heart lives, and I just love putting on the Wednesday night services. I'm the service coordinator for all of them, but we have a large team of people who support it. We have a variety of presenters and a variety of musicians, and I really believe in the healing power of music. And this week, you're in for such a treat. We have a soulful, mystical, spiritual evening that's filled with poetry and musical harmonies that will reach into your spirit. And that's with Shockey Roth, who's one of the pioneers of New Age music, with Cy Perkoff. He's been around forever, and Paul Aubert. They'll be playing bass, sax, flutes, and piano. So please come. And the other thing that's really exciting news is we're going to start live streaming all of our Wednesday night services. So if you can't make it, at least you can maybe watch it at home, and then you'll watch it at home, and then you'll want to be here the next time because you know how great it is. So be sure to check that out as we continue to grow our virtual community as well. And tech team up there, I want to say thank you. Connect, Olivia, Maurice, we love you. We see you even though we don't see you, and we appreciate you. We have a monthly Life After Death series that Ellie Shamber puts on, and she brings guest speakers in to speak about their experience. This Friday, Mary Neal will be speaking, so if that is something that might speak to you, be sure to be there Friday. The Conscious Aging Workshop that was scheduled to start this week on Friday will not be meeting this week. It will be rescheduled soon. So now please stand as you're able and join us in singing our statement of truth.
There is only one power, only one presence, active in all my life and in the universe. God the good.
So, I did not write this song, so just to clarify. Do you want to say anything about it?
Just that this was a special request of Medora's. This is my good. This is a special request of Medora's. And last service, I bragged a lot about Lily, so I won't do that this service. But I will say in one sentence, she's appearing in the production of 9 at Marin School of the Arts. She made it to. She was a top 10 finalist in the Michael Feinstein Songbook Academy this past summer.
Stop.
And she has a private solo concert this coming week at the Green Music Center, an evening of Gershwin.
Anyways. You think you own whatever land you land on. The earth is just a dead thing you can claim. But I know every rock and tree and creature has a life, has a spirit, has a name. You think the only people who are people are the people who look and think like you. But if you walk the footsteps of a stranger, you'll learn things you never knew, you never knew. Have you ever heard the wolf cry to the blue corn moon, or ask the grinning bobcat why he grinned? Can you sing with all the voices of the mountain? Can you paint with all the colors of the wind? Can you paint with all the colors of the wind? Come run the hidden pine trails of the forest. Come taste the sun-sweet berries of the earth. Come roll in all the riches all around you. And for once, never wonder what they're worth. The rainstorm and the river are my brothers. The heron and the otter are my friends. And we are all connected to each other in a circle, in a hoop that never ends. High where the sycamore grow, if you cut it down, then you'll never know. And you'll never hear the wolf cry to the blue corn moon. For whether we are white or copper skinned, we need to sing with all the voices of the mountain. We need to paint with all the colors of the wind. You can own the earth and still all your own is earth until you can paint with all the colors of the wind.
Thank you. At the risk of sounding like your mother, you're just wonderful. I really want to do this talk today. I I started out at the beginning of the year when we were sorting out calendars and doing things and said, that one's mine. And it's because it is Columbus Day in a lot of people's world, but for me, it really is Indigenous Peoples Day. And thank you. And I want to honor that because of where we live and who we are. And I think as we dig around in our roots and our history, we will discover that we're all of us more indigenous than we thought. Now, I have a story. In my family, my father used to always brag that we were part American Indian. And so we all told each other that story, and we told other people that. And when I was in Santa Fe, I would tell people that I had some American Indian roots, and somehow that gave me a little more standing. And he always said, well, there's this letter, and it is before the Department of Indian Affairs, and I think it was the Bureau of Labor. And my father said, there's this letter that says that I am. And after he died, I was going through his papers, and sure enough, I found this letter. And it's typed, and it says Department of Labor Affairs on the top, and it says that he is registered as 1/4 Mohawk Iroquois in the Mohawk Iroquois Nation. And the quarter that we are is Algonquin. Now, the Mohawk Nation was large, and it had different, tribes in it. And the Algonquins were mainly in New England, maybe some Vermont, Maine, up in that part of the world. So I'm thinking that this is really, really cool, and I'm loving that I've got this letter. And then I started really looking at the letter. And it turns out that it was typed on the very same black Royal typewriter that my father taught me to type on when I was 12. And I'm looking at this thinking, oh, I don't know, Daddy. I'm thinking, my dad was a little bit of a player, and someday I'm gonna go to one of those places and ask him if I'm part Indian, but I haven't had the courage yet. I'd rather live with the letter, believe. So this morning we're going to come deep into Miwok culture. We've already started out with the drumming and the chanting and the story. And every tribe has its own storyteller. And in the industry, when you look at storytellers, if you collect them, because that's mostly what we have left now, the more children the storyteller is holding, the broader the expanse of the storyteller, and the better the piece of Indian art. The storyteller, to this day, teaches us our early beginnings, our where we are now, and possibly looks into what our future might be. So this morning, I'm your storyteller as we go forward now into the Miwok Nation. Now, Miwok stands for the people. So when you hear me down through the talk refer to the people who did this and the people did that, know that I'm referring to the Miwok Nation. The Coastal Miwoks ranged from the Golden Gate, north about 45 miles, and west to Duncan's Point, which is on the coast of the ocean. And the people developed a trail that more or less followed the bay. And they built communities along that trail. And that trail is mostly adjacent to our Highway 101. So whenever we're driving up or down Highway 1, spend a little time and pretend that you're a Miwok and know that you are on the very trail that our ancestors walked. The villages were mostly along that trail, and in them they developed things that are called middens. Middens, we know middens as shell mounds. I had a gentleman come through the door for the first service saying that he had a house in Novato that was across the street from Pioneer Park, and that in fact the anthropologist told him that his house was built on a midden, a shell mound. There are 400 of them in Marin, roughly, that they have found, and one midden in Larkspur was excavated in 2014, so only 5 years ago. They're thought to be 4,500 years of age. That's how long the people settled this land. And in this midden in Larkspur, they found human remains, a ceremonial condor burial site, musical instruments, throwing sticks, which dated from a time before bows and arrows, and the bones of about 100 grizzly and black bears. Unity in Marin, right here, right now, where we're sitting this very minute, where our feet are planted, is quite possibly on the very trail on which our ancestors walked. And sometimes when you're here at night, sometimes when we're out in the parking lot and we're talking to the owls, because the owls are still here, sometimes if we listen very closely, I think we can hear them singing. The Miwok story is one of continuity and change and persistence. But unfortunately, the rich native culture that had built up over so many years was largely destroyed during the mission era from 1769 to 1830. Starting in 1769, the Franciscan missionaries forcibly relocated many of the people from their native dwellings to the missions, all up and down the coast, and the once proud people became slave labor. They kept the place working, planted the gardens, served in the missions. But by 1821, when Mexico had won its independence from Spain, they couldn't decide what to do with the missions. And so the Mexican government closed them, secularized them, if you will, and effectively ended their work in California. The people returned home to Marin, continued their native traditions for many years, and even gradually, even that came to an end. Over the years, their tribal lands had been subjected to incursions by the Spanish, the Mexicans, and finally the Americans. The Spanish, who wanted to convert the tribe to Christianity and enslave them. The Mexicans, who forced the people to work on their farms, and the Americans, who moved along the California Trail to join the gold rush. The Miwok people were decimated by the diseases brought by the invaders. They were subjected to atrocities of all kinds, and those who survived were forced to live on various reservations that had been their land in the first place. I tell you all this not to make you sad or unhappy. I tell you all this because we live and we work and we play and we are who we are on Miwok land. And we know virtually nothing about it. The Bay Miwok worshipped animals as their ancestors. And animal legends were passed down from one generation to another. That's the reason I asked Lisa to read the piece that she wrote. And in many stories, the coyote was honored as their wisest, funniest, and trickiest trickster, and the silver fox was the female. She was the serious one, the wise one. And dancing was very, very important to the religion, to the spirituality, actually, not religion. Men and women wore special costumes and painted their faces and their bodies in black and red and white. They wore headdresses that were woven of beads and grass and shells and feathers. And the most important person in the village was the shaman who was the spirit doctor, the person in the community that could talk to the spirit gods. The shaman called upon animal spirits in dreams, and through their dances and their songs and their chanting were thought to have special powers to cure the sick, predict the future, and start the rain. Again, I come back to our owls. They're here. They're ours. And I wonder what they have to say to us. The Bay Miwok were a very grateful, established people. They didn't roam or wander like the Navajo or the Cheyenne who had to chase the buffalo. They weren't like that. And they weren't Pueblo Indians like you find in New Mexico. They weren't Acoma or Santa Clara or Taos. The Miwok were fishing, hunting. They roamed, but they roamed within a kind of a controlled space. They believed that everything in this world has spiritual power. Plants, animals, rocks, trees, the ocean, all of it. And because of this, the people took only what they needed. They took only what they needed from the land, and they were not wasteful. Now, as a good storyteller, you now know the land on which we live. And what it's important for me to do now is to help us understand the spirituality which we all share. I would dare say that a good part of us come out of a Judeo-Christian tradition of some kind. And as you know, in Unity, we believe that every story in the Bible has something to do with our spirituality. Everything in the Bible is a metaphor. Every person, place, thing, event, location, everything is a metaphor. And so this morning, I want, as part of our history, I want to talk to you a little bit about how we came into the land of milk and honey. If you remember, the Israelites left Egypt and they wandered around in the desert for 40 years, and they got to the land of milk and honey, and they were kind of trucking it over, getting into the land, and that was fine. And right in the middle of where they needed to go was a town called Jericho. And Jericho was a huge walled city. I want to tell you, Richard and I have been to Jericho. We went to the Middle East in 1985. We were on a tour, religious tour. The Israelis really don't want you going there by yourself, so you go on a tour. And they took us out to Jericho and got off the bus, and the guide said, you go right up that hill, and there's the wall that was around Jericho. So we go up the hill, and the guide says, now look down into this hole. So everybody looks down into the hole. I kid you not, there's nothing down there but dirt. Okay? It's about an 80-foot deep hole. Maybe there's the wall of Jericho down there, but you sure wouldn't know it. Yeah, I sure couldn't see it. So we're all thinking, well, that was sort of disappointing. I guess I'll just believe the story. They said it was there. So we go back down the hill because we're thinking to ourselves, well, that was a bust. So we go down to Jericho, the town, which is small. There isn't much in Jericho, and it's kind of old and dusty, and it does belong to the Palestinians. I think it's the West Bank, and it's not Israel. So it isn't very well kept. It's pretty got holes in the roads and stuff. It's not very cool. And we go into this one shop, and the shop is very, very old. The shop is cobwebs and dust, and it's very old, wooden floors, and it has these display cabinets with glass. And inside are what they're telling us are these ancient coins, ancient pieces of pottery, even more ancient little statuettes or gods of some kind or something. And the guy says, oh, they're thousands of years old. You can't come to Jericho and not buy one of these. You got to have a piece of this. You got to do some of this stuff. So Richard and I are looking at that, but in our own way, we're fairly savvy shoppers, and they wanted too much money for this. So we looked at that and we said, I don't think so, thank you very much, and we left. So then what are you going to do? You still got 2 hours to kill in Jericho, right? And there's nothing going on. And so we decided we would go exploring. And we walked around the block and we found ourselves in an alley behind this store, the very store we'd been in. And just as we were sort of beginning to peer around, we heard coming down the alley this man going, out of the way, hot stuff, out of the way, out of the way, out of the way. And here's a man, he's got on, cooking mittens. He's got a very hot cookie sheet full of the very same coins and shells and little gods. And he had clearly just pulled it out of the oven. It was like cookies. And he goes in the back door of this shop, and you know where all of they went. All by way of saying, the history sometimes is true, and sometimes it's not true, and I don't know. I don't know what to tell you about it. So I'm going to go back now to what the Bible tells us about the Battle of Jericho. Jericho was right in the way. It's important because it was the first battle fought by the Israelites on the course of their conquest of Canaan. So I've asked Lisa if she would read what the Bible tells us about the Battle of Jericho.
Now the gates of Jericho were securely barred because of the Israelites. No one went out and no one came in. Then the Lord said to Joshua, "See, I have delivered Jericho into your hands, along with its king and its fighting men. March around the city once with all the armed men. Do this for 6 days. Have 7 priests carry trumpets of ram's horns in front of the ark. On the 7th day, march around the city 7 times with the priests blowing the trumpets. When you hear them sound a long blast on the trumpets, have the whole army give a loud shout. Then the wall of the city will collapse and the army will go up, everyone straight in." So Joshua, son of Nun, called the priests and said to them, "Take up the ark of the covenant of the Lord and have 7 priests carry trumpets in front of it." And he ordered the army, "Advance, march around the city with an armed guard going ahead of the ark of the Lord." When Joshua had spoken to the people, the 7 priests carrying the 7 trumpets before the Lord went forward, blowing their trumpets, and the ark of the Lord's covenant followed them. The armed guard marched ahead of the priests who blew the trumpets, and the rear guard followed the ark. All this time the trumpets were sounding. But Joshua had commanded the army, "Do not give a war cry. Do not raise your voices. Do not say a word until the day I tell you to shout. Then shout." They did this for 6 days. On the 7th day, they got up at daybreak and marched around the city 7 times in the same manner, except that on that day, they circled the city 7 times. The 7th time around, when the priest sounded the trumpet blast, Joshua commanded the army, "Shout, for the Lord has given you the city." When the trumpet sounded, the army shouted. And at the sound of the trumpet, when the men gave a loud shout, the wall collapsed, so everyone charged straight in, and they took the city. They devoted the city to the Lord and destroyed with the sword every living thing in it, men and women, young and old, cattle, sheep, and donkeys.
So just as we're at the point of thinking, well, that does it for me, I'm out of here, I'm never going to believe this stuff again. Remember, every person, place, thing, and event in the Bible is a metaphor. Jericho represents our human consciousness and its relation to life. It's our intellectual being. in contrast to our inner spirit. The intellect has a legitimate place in consciousness. There's no question of that. And it's okay if it expresses the light of our understanding. Now, the Israelites, metaphorically, are illumined thoughts in consciousness. They're the parts of our thoughts that are always trying to do well. It's the total of our spiritual thinking. Those thoughts of ours which are endeavoring to follow divine law. But the very science of our being reveals that our intellect only shines in the reflected light of who we are, the reflected light of our being. And if our intellect becomes egotistical, Jericho, think that it originates in its own light, not the light of being, then our intellect forms a sort of adverse consciousness that is out of harmony with the divine. So when you look at it, the Israelites won. The walls came tumbling down. Our divine thoughts were able to bring down the intellect that doesn't reflect our being. The walls came tumbling down, and we've been fighting over it ever since. Now, as your storyteller, it's important for me to talk to you, talk with us amongst ourselves about the book that we're currently reading, because that's current. How many people? Book study, reading the book, looking at it. And I know that many other groups are having trouble. Many people are having trouble with this book because it is so difficult. We're talking about locking up children and people who didn't do what they said they were doing. And, oh, by the way, did I tell you they're all black? And I wondered how this fit with our story of indigenous people. For this week, we're studying locking up women and children, and it's not pleasant. But I want to think about where spiritual, social justice comes into play. And we're led here by a program steering team. And the program steering team very much wanted everyone to wake up. We believe that the time has come for us to stand, for us to rise up, and for us to know what it is that we need to do to make the world a better place. And in order to stand up, we have to wake up. And the book is definitely waking us up. We were talking in our group our book study this last week, and one of the people pointed out that isn't it interesting when indigenous people are taken over, that the indigenous people are always people of color and the people that win are always white. And so we were thinking about how that might apply to what we're doing now, and we're saying, well, we're separating families at the border, and we're locking up black people, and we're sending people back, and we're locking up children of color at 14 because maybe they did something horrible, but maybe, who knows? And it's another way of keeping people down. But the thing to think about this time is we are the indigenous people, and we're white, most of us. And it is the people of color who are changing things up for all of us. I am not sure what the answer is, but I do know that history teaches us that the invaders win over the indigenous people. And if we're the indigenous people, then what is our compassionate response here? Principle 1 teaches us that we are all one. In metaphysics, in quantum physics, we are all sparks of light. Color doesn't have any impact. Knowledge doesn't have any impact. Our intellect doesn't mean anything. Our social standing doesn't mean anything. We are all equal sparks of light in the metaphysical world. So we are indigenous to the larger people. And what we do now matters. Through consciousness, our minds have the power to change our planet and ourselves. It's time that we heed the wisdom of the ancient indigenous people and channel our consciousness and our spirit to tend the garden and not destroy it. We each must find what is ours to do and do it. It doesn't have to be big. It doesn't have to be expensive, but we do need to do it with our whole heart. For there is no one else. We have got to find ways to look deeper, below the anger, below the hurt, below the hate, below the jealousy. We need to go to that place where dreams live. Find our dream, for it is the pursuit of dreams that heals us all. We turned the service around a little bit. Usually there's the song that Carolyn Gauthier wrote for us, and we usually sing it at the front. And I want us to stand up and sing it now. So the booth is going to put the words up on the screen, and this is our closing. This is the way that we decide and participate in where we are at this point. So if you would all please stand up. The booth will put up the words. All right? We're going to sing this song now here at our closing rather than at our opening. Ready, set.
It's time to do what's right. Wake up, wake up. It's time to shine your light. Wake up, wake up. 'Cause if it comes to you, you know it's yours to do. The truth will see you through. So wake up, wake up, stand up. It's time to do what's right. Stand up. Stand up, it's time to shine your light. Stand up, 'cause if it comes to you, you know it's yours to do. The truth will see you through. So stand up, rise up. It's time to do what's right. Rise up, rise up. It's time to shine your light. Rise up, 'cause if it comes to you, you know it's yours to do. The truth will see you through. So rise up, wake up, stand up, rise up, rise up, rise up.
As the ushers come forward now, this is our time of giving and receiving and being oh so very grateful for all that we do and all that we are. Thank you for you. Thank you for being here this day. And thank you for giving generously from your heart. And so it is. Thank you.
Just as we give, so we receive. Richly we live in one golden weave. There is nothing that we can lack. We give from love, love gives it back. Just as we give, so we receive. Richly we live in one golden weave.
from love, love gives it back. Plant a seed, watch it grow, right where fear and anger live, and the walls loom high. Shine a light on the soil of forgiveness, where we all live and move beneath the same sweet sky. Watch the night return today, as the gentle wind of wisdom blows the boundaries all away, and we'll find that we have all the love we need, and it all begins when we plant a seed. Patient earth, bathe our hands in the wisdom of your love that has waited so long for our hearts to awake from the dream of separation, believing wrong is right and right is wrong. Watch the night return today, as the gentle wind of wisdom blows the boundaries all away, and we'll find we have all the love we need, and it all begins when we plant a seed. No turning back to the pages of regret, where the list of pain and sorrow just goes on. Right here, right now, we can forgive and forget. We can leave the past behind us. No more bitterness to blind us. There's a field where each soul is invited to the dance of eternal peace. Meet me there, and we'll dance reunited, and we'll water the soil with the tears of our release. Just one seed can turn the tide, bursting with the hope that still humanity abides. Hearts are healed, spirits fed, souls freed, and it all begins when we plant a seed. And it all begins when we plant a seed. Plant a seed.
As the ushers come forward, I want all of us to raise our hands and think about what we have heard and learned today and heard Desiree sing. It is all about planting seeds, and we're grateful. So let's see if we can remember to say the prayer, even though the slide isn't up. Divine love, through me, blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. Thank you, God. And so it is. Amen.
And I just need to say a few thank yous. Thank you to Desiree Goyette, you and your beautiful voice, and your family, Ed Bogus on piano. And Lily is 17 years old. We have watched you grow up from a little one, and to see you shine in the way that you do is just magnificent. I've been so proud. It's like we're all proud of you, just like your mom. Yeah, thank you for being here. And Reverend Medora, again, you share so much wisdom with all of us. You share your personal experiences, and then you go into the historical, and then the present, and what's current, and the metaphysics of it. You bring us all the way around. You wrap it all up in such a wonderful way. You're an amazing teacher to me. And the thing I want to say, your last line was, find your dream. It's in the pursuit of that dream that heals us all. Your dream may be singing. Your dream may be working with the children. Your dream may be something, anything. Just follow your dream. We're not all the same. We all have different dreams. I go into the prisons. That may not be for you. But you find your dream, and that is what heals us all. Absolutely. Yeah. So we want to take a moment now to thank our flower sponsors. And Martha Watt is wishing her beautiful mother, Beverly Mandel, a happy birthday. And Melanie Carter and Bernie are celebrating their 51st anniversary. Congratulations. And thank you, Judy Williams, for creating the beautiful flower arrangements today. And this week's hospitality sponsor is Lynn Slater, honoring her mom. There's also not a slide for this, but there is a spiritual social action meeting today at 1. We do have an active spiritual community, the social justice. I do that, but I don't, anyway. We have a social justice group that meets at 1 o'clock. So if this is of interest to you, we've got one more thing for you to check out. So will the Unity Marin prayer chaplains please come up to the front at this time? Our prayer chaplains are available to support you before or after any service, and anything, come on up if you want. I understand. And anything that you have to say is held in confidentiality. If you have a concern or a joy, they are absolutely here for you. And now I'd like to invite up the co-leader, Barbara Cederley.
And along with Elizabeth Drew, my co-leader, I just want to encourage any of you who've ever been curious about the program, been curious about being a prayer chaplain, or thought, wow, I wonder if I could do that, but we're too afraid to even go there. Well, go there, get out your phone, put one of these dates on your calendar, because I know you're using your phone for your calendar, and please consider coming for 1 hour, share the time with current prayer chaplains, ask questions, get your questions answered, and really plant a seed, as Desiree's saying, or, live into that dream if it's your dream. And join us on one of these days coming up. The next one is 2 weeks from today at 1 o'clock after the second service. Okay? Thank you.
And if you want to do a deeper dive, the Prayer Chaplains is a wonderful place to do your own personal work. I know that worked for me when I was one. Thank you, Prayer Chaplains, for the gift of your sacred service. So now if you'll please stand together and we'll say the prayer for protection. The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. The presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is. And take the hand of the person next to you and we'll sing our peace song together. Have a wonderful Sunday, everyone.